Welcome to Her Movement podcast, the show where we empower women entrepreneurs to build their own movement and create a bigger impact in the world. I'm your host Preeti Singh Rajput, and I'm beyond excited to have you join me on this exhilarating journey. In each episode, we dive deep into the inspiring stories of remarkable women entrepreneurs. We'll explore their successes, their struggles, and the pivotal moments that shaped their journey. This podcast is a platform for real and raw conversations. Sharing our stories is empowering and instrumental in inspiring others to step into their greatness. From overcoming challenges to celebrating triumphs, our guests will take you on a transformative journey through their experiences. Join us as we delve into topics such as building a loyal community, creating your own movement with your own experience, growing your business with impact, and so much more. Our guests are trailblazers in their respective niches, and they are ready to share their wisdom, insights, and actionable tips that you can implement in your own business and life. Whether you are just starting out or looking to take your business to the next level, Her Movement Podcast is your go-to resource for inspiration, guidance, and real-world strategies that truly work. So grab a cup of coffee, tune in, and let's embark on this exciting journey together. Get ready to ignite your passion, elevate your mindset, and build your own movement. Hey Sarah, welcome to Her Movement podcast. I'm so glad that you took out time to share your amazing story with us. How are you doing today?
I'm very well, thank you. And thank you so much for inviting me on your podcast.
I'm so glad because your journey, your story is so inspiring. I couldn't stop myself but get in touch with you. And, there are just so many of us, and life happens to us. We have some problems and issues, and we just think that's the limitation in our life. And how you define everything for yourself in your life is just so inspiring. So the first question that I actually ask Sarah is, what movement are you building with your own business?
And the movement I'm building is to help people with chronic illnesses to be able to work and to be financially independent, either through having their own business or through working with other people.
Which is awesome because we in our head at times feel like that's the limitation, and that's the bottleneck. But the way you have defined everything for yourself, I just felt like you must come and share your story with my audience so that they can turn their setbacks and the issues that they have, whether it is health related or physical health or the mental health, and how they can turn into whatever they're going through into something beautiful for themselves. So take us into your story, Sarah. I know it's so inspiring. I was just going through your work and everything, and I just felt like there is just so much to learn as a person. Forget about just, as an entrepreneur. There is just so much to learn from you. Take us into your story, Sarah, and take us into your journey of becoming an entrepreneur.
Thank you. Yes, so my story started quite a long time ago. When I left university, I started a successful career as a management consultant. I managed to travel the world while I was working, had a lot of fun at the same time. And I felt that my health was starting to get worse. I was struggling. I thought maybe I was just doing too much and that maybe I just wasn't able to cope as well as some of my colleagues were. And I was putting pressure on myself. I was thinking, I just need to do more. I just need to put more pressure on myself. I'll get there. And it got to the point where I was working all the hours, but then I was resting the rest of the time. I was either working or sleeping, and there wasn't much fun left in my life. And eventually, I realized that it wasn't just me. It wasn't just the fact that I couldn't cope. There was something more going on with my health. And that started a long journey of trying to find out exactly what was going on. It took quite a few years to finally get a diagnosis. And originally, I was diagnosed with something called ME, or chronic fatigue syndrome, which is a lot of exhaustion, a lot of muscle ache and pain, and lots of just general symptoms. I've since found out that I have a couple of other illnesses, one of which is an inherited illness called Ehlers-Danlos syndrome, which is to do with the collagen in the body, and then something else called POTS syndrome, which affects the autonomic nervous system. And I think those are what caused my illness in the first place. But I had no idea. It took about 16 years to get the final
Oh
diagnosis.
my
It's been a
God, 16
long, long
years.
journey.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah. So I eventually got to the point where I couldn't work anymore, and I had to give up my career as a management consultant, which was a real blow. And I kind of lost hope for the future. I was the sort of person who had a lot of ambition, and I knew what my journey was going to be. I had it all planned out, and then suddenly the rug was pulled from underneath my feet, and that was no longer achievable. And I didn't really know what to do. So I just got on, I focused on my health, trying to get better, and eventually I found that I was starting to get that ambition back again. And so I started my first business, which was around making skincare. I taught myself how to make um, my own skincare using vegan, natural ingredients, and started a business where I was making kits so that children and adults could make their own skincare and running parties and workshops as well, which was so much fun. But I found that I was making my health worse again, and I couldn't keep it up. So I was having days when I could work really hard, and then I was crashing completely and having to go to bed and not be able to look after my children properly. And it was a cycle that I just couldn't get out of. And it reached a climax when I really hurt. I already had one bad shoulder, and I really hurt the other shoulder just through overworking. And at that moment, I promised myself that I just couldn't continue in this way. So I wanted to look for support on how to run a business with a chronic illness. And I couldn't find anything out there at all. There was just nobody who was able to help. And all the information I was getting online was sort of pushing me to do so much that I should be posting every day on social media. I should be writing a blog every week. I should be doing a newsletter. There was just so much to be doing, and I couldn't keep up with it. So I decided to set up a group for business owners with chronic illnesses called Entrepreneurs Against the Odds, where people who had chronic illnesses could find other people who understood what they were going through and what the challenges were. And I taught myself how to run a business in a way that worked with my health. So I could choose the right strategy. I could work in a way that meant that I wasn't pushing myself too hard. I was prioritizing my health, my rest, my well being, and that everything else would fit in around that. And then I started running workshops and mentoring other people in how they could do the same. And then once I did that, so I decided to also help employees with chronic illnesses, so people working for big organizations. So I now train other organizations in how they can better support employees with chronic illness as well. And I just generally raise a lot of awareness about chronic illness and the impact it can have on somebody who is working.
Yes, yes, definitely so beautiful. And often, when we are faced with a situation like that in life, we just feel like that's the end, you know, that's the end. How did you find that inspiration and motivation to, not accept what just happened to you and, have a say in how you live with that further in your life?
It took a while. I was completely torn apart when I lost my career and really did lose any idea about what I might do. But I've got two children. I wanted to be a good role model for them. And I think they were my inspiration to do something more. And then I decided that I wasn't going to accept that chronic illness meant that I could actually do something with it and I could help others who are going through the same struggles that I was going through. I think it helps that my dad also has chronic illnesses and he was a business owner as well. So he was very supportive and has been sort of my mentor throughout the journey. We often have a call most days chatting about what I'm going to do with the business, and he's a brilliant support. And I think when you have a chronic illness, having that support is invaluable.
Right, right. And understanding, what, because it's definitely not going to be the normal, things that everybody else does, because you have to be considerate about what's happening inside of your body and then accordingly design. How did you actually figure out, how did you design your business around all of that? Because I get sick and I'm like, that day is just gone. I'm not able to manage my things. How did you understood, what are the things that are happening to you and how are you going to design a business around that?
I think the first thing that I learned to do was to really listen to my body, because my body's always talking to me and giving me clues. So if I'm getting a little niggle of my neck's hurting or my eyes are hurting, my body's trying to tell me something. And so I have to learn how to listen and interpret it and then how to react to that. And that means that I can often stop the problem from developing any further. So getting really in tune with my body, keeping track of that, and understanding what it's saying to me has been probably the key to moving forward. and then not being afraid to take rest and prioritize my well-being. So I think often when we own our own business, we feel that we have to push ourselves really, really hard, and that our business has to come first no matter what. And then probably our family and our house and our friends and family, and then we are right at the bottom of the list. And we need to change that. We need to put ourselves at the top of the list. And then if we can put ourselves first, and like, so if we are having a bad day, we take time off, we listen to what our body needs and we react to it. If we can put ourselves first, then everything else will benefit our business, our home, our family. They will all benefit from us taking our own priority and making sure that we're keeping well.
And Sarah, when we're not well, sometimes, especially with me, it happens, and I know it happens with a lot of us. How do you find the strength during that time, And inside of your head, there's a lot of mindset game that's playing, around you when you know that these are the things that you really need to do in your business, and you also know that the problems and issues that are happening with you are not something that are going to be fixed, in few days, and it's going to stay with you. You know that you have to live with it, and then how do you find that motivation, that inspiration to actually get up and decide to walk that path?
Yeah, I think if it's something that's quite acute, then it's good to take the rest and take time out of your business. But if it's a symptom that's ongoing, you're right, the mindset is so, so important. And it's about seeing the fact that doing something that you love is actually really beneficial for your health. I ran a poll in my group recently where I asked how running a business has affected their health. And overwhelmingly, everybody said it has been really positive for both their physical and their mental health. Because having something to get out of bed for, having something to channel your energy into is incredibly beneficial. And for your mental health, it's amazing because you have purpose in your life, you're making connections, you're talking to people. And then that also then impacts on your physical health as well. So running a business is brilliant for your health, and it's just remembering that. And I think with things like symptoms, it's also important to remember that just because you're feeling one way one day, it doesn't mean that's going to be forever. Our bodies change, our symptoms change. And I have the phrase, this too shall pass. And I just remind myself of that. Just because I'm feeling bad at the moment doesn't mean that this is going to be forever. There could be good days and bad days as well.
Right. And, it's more about prioritizing yourself and what your motivation is from this life, And where did you find some help when you were going through, all these things? Did you find help in your circle, or you looked for the help outside? How did you figure out all of this all alone? Like, because building a skincare business in itself, it's like a, full-fledged business that we have to run, right? It's not something that you did part-time, probably a part-time copywriter or something like that. You just went all into a business, which itself is a huge thing to do. So how did you find out the courage to actually get into something so big for yourself?
My main motivation has always been hope. The fact that cause that's the thing that I lost when I lost my career was hope for the future. I couldn't see myself being able to afford like nice holidays or doing nice activities with my children. And the idea of setting up a business, it gave me that hope again that I could not only earn money, but I could also um, be a success, that I could achieve great things. And having that hope sort of dangled in front of me gave me that push that I needed every day to get up and make progress. I think it helps that I've got quite a lot of ambition. I think it helps that I had people around me who were interested in what I was doing and were encouraging me. And my children were so interested in understanding what I'm doing in the business. My youngest started making her own little lavender bags at the same time. So she got really involved in it. And knowing that that was having an impact on her and would help her in the future was really beneficial as well for me.
Oh, so your kids were your inspiration throughout the journey. I can see it, that you always wanted to do something so that they can learn from you, that you can be their idol, mother. Wow, that's beautiful. So while you were going through all of that, Sarah, when you say that you started prioritizing your health, what were those things that you were prioritizing? What were those practices that you were doing that helped you stay in tune with your health and at the same time stay motivated to, work towards your business?
So I like to plan for things that make me happy. So I can do that on a daily basis. I could do that on like a monthly basis and on a yearly basis. So if I'm looking at it annually, I can look at things like what holiday I might want to go on, or if there is a theatre show that I want to go and visit and plan that in. And then again, I can do something similar on a monthly basis as well. Maybe choose one or two things, maybe meet up with some friends or go to a restaurant and plan those in my diary. And then on a daily basis, it's all those little moments of happiness that I plan into my diary. So I love sitting out in my garden and listening to the birds. So I bought myself a lovely garden chair where I could do that. I like to read a book. So I make sure that I plan every day to go and sit down for 20 minutes in a quiet spot, in like a beautiful quiet spot, and read my book. And it's planning what I love and making sure that I put that into my day on a daily basis and having things to look forward to as well. So for me, it's those moments of joy that I want to make sure that I incorporate into my life.
Yeah, that's beautiful. And a lot of us, when it comes to planning, and we plan everything, but when it comes to execution, right? And you already are going through something in your, health is not good, and you're just not feeling very good, and you know that these are the things that you have to do, but how do you push yourself to actually do that because you're not feeling good today?
Yes, but I know that if I do something, so for example, the daily things, I know that even if I'm not feeling well, doing those little things will help make me feel better in myself. They'll really help my mental health. So I know that it does have an impact on me. So I do make sure, like on a daily basis, that I plan to do these nice things. And then if I'm doing something that's a bit bigger and I know it might have more impact on my health, then I'll plan my diary. So, for example, the day before, if I know I'm having a day out and I know that's going to have impact on my health, the day before I'll have quite a restful day, and the day after I make sure that I do nothing just in case it has a real bad impact on my health. So I have to. It's all about the planning for me. I have to be really careful in how I plan things and make sure that I can do everything that I want to do.
And what happens, like, I'm not feeling well, okay, so I know that maybe for me to come back in a better shape, in a better health, it's going to take me a week or so. And I know that business is something where I need to kind of, keep doing things every single day, or at least, keep things where we can keep our business running, right? Let's say that way. And we also know that, okay, this is something that has happened to me. It's going to take, a week's time or so. How to manage a business during that time?
So I think it's all to do with the planning again. So making sure you have the right strategy for your business. So when you have got a chronic illness or a disability, that you have the right strategy. You're not having to work every single day and deliver something every single day, that you have got chances to rest and recover. And then looking at setting up your business in a way so that you use things like automation and delegation so that you don't have to be working constantly. And if you need to take time out, your business will still run. So setting up email automations and allowing people to buy things off your website without you having to have input on in that as well. And then seeing things that you can delegate and ask people to help with when you are feeling really bad.
Oh, so let's go a little deeper into this, topic where you're talking about automating the business and having a team probably where which you can, delegate your work to. So let's go a little deeper here so that, the audience that's listening to this conversation gets that practical execution, how to actually execute this whole concept that you teach in real life, and they can truly understand, what are those basics that they can implement from now onwards and probably, feel at ease in their businesses. Even when they are sick, their business is still running.
Yeah, so for example, if you want to have some sort of passive income available to buy, so that might be something like a workshop that you have pre-recorded and you've put up on your website, and that you've got a funnel that people can buy that. So things like that will mean that your business is still running. If you have somebody who you trust and who can step into your business if you are feeling unwell, making sure that you have written up standard operating procedures for the main parts of your business that they can take over at a moment's notice without having to have a huge discussion with you can really help as well. And managing customers' expectations as well. So if you're having to deliver something, for example, if you're a copywriter or you design websites, for example, if you know you can deliver something in a week, rather than saying it'll be available in 5 days' time, you actually say it will be available in 2 weeks' time. And that then gives you some space. So if you can't work in those days, you've got more time to be able to deliver it and you can catch up later. And that works really well because it's all about customer expectation. If, say, we're on a bus, if our bus journey is going to take an hour and it ends up taking 3 hours, we get really upset about it. Why are we stuck on this bus? This is so frustrating, and we get really annoyed. But if we know that the bus journey is going to take 5 hours and it actually ends up taking 3 hours, then we're delighted because it's taken so much less time than we expected. And that works in a business as well.
Putting that cushion for yourself in case if something happens in between is extremely important.
And people don't mind. People are happy to wait an extra week for a website if they know it's going to be delivered in that time. What they don't want is
Right,
to be told it's
right,
going to be delivered in a week and then you're not able to do it. So putting in that extra
right.
time is a really good practice, especially when you've got a chronic illness, just to allow yourself that cushion. And also planning in some white time for yourself as well, making sure your diary isn't packed. So having maybe an afternoon on a Friday and a morning on a Wednesday where you've got nothing planned. So if you have a bad day on Monday or Tuesday, you've got some time to catch up, and just making sure that you have plenty of space in your diary to have those catch up days. You're not always pushing yourself to a deadline.
And, maybe simplifying the business, isn't it?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, and that's where strategy comes in. It's making sure that your business really, really works with your health, that you're not trying to deliver one-to-ones all the time, that you have a really robust strategy for you and your health.
Right. And if we can use the online tools and automation that's already available for us, and we have, a team, it could be a one person or two people team, something like that, that can also help us, which is amazing. And how do you run your skincare? Do you have a team?
Yeah, so with the skincare, I've actually ended up, I have just about a month ago decided to temporarily close that so I can really put all my focus into this business.
So how have you structured your coaching business? Because coaching business needs you, like your clients, they need you, every week. If not, every day, of course they need you every week. So how do you make sure that even if with all the challenges, health challenges and everything, you will be able to make, yourself available for them? How have you structured? Because I'm sure a lot of my audience is actually coaches,
Yes, yes. So
and they will really get benefited if they can know a little bit of insight on how you have structured your coaching business.
So for me personally, I like to make sure that I do time blocking so that I'm not trying to switch from task to task, because that is incredibly draining both mentally and physically. If you're working on one thing and then you're switching to another and then on to another, that can be incredibly tiring. So trying to focus and say, okay, on a Wednesday morning, I'm going to do 2 calls, but with a half an hour gap between them, so I can take some time out to go for a little walk, get away from my computer, and then I can come back and do another call, and then I'm going to have a break after that. So it's really in planning time for rest and relaxation and for those little moments of joy, which makes a difference. And again, like if I'm going to deliver a workshop, for example, I will make sure that I've got a nice cushion beforehand and afterwards so that I can recover. I'm not going to be jumping from a one-to-one call to a workshop to another one-to-one call. I just can't do that. So it's being really thoughtful about my diary and knowing how that's going to work. And then things that I don't enjoy doing or I find really difficult, I don't do those. I pass those on to somebody else to do those for me. So focusing on things that I have to deliver because I'm the face of my business, and those things that I love doing and that energize me. Because there are some tasks that drain you and some tasks that give you energy. And it's around taking away the tasks that drain you and focusing on those that give you energy, to make sure that you can keep your energy levels high and protect your health as well.
And do you have automation in place for your coaching business as well?
Yeah, so things like when somebody buys, they can automatically pay and book in without having to have any contacts at all. So allowing those sorts of things to happen, because if you're going backwards and forwards over email trying to find a time to book a call, that can be quite time consuming and take you away from other tasks. So just anything you can do to reduce that can be very beneficial. And even having things like out of office email response, like automatically set up, which sets your boundaries. So says what hours you're going to work, how quickly you're going to respond to them. So people, again, when people send an email nowadays, people expect an instant response. But if you can set their expectations to say, okay, I'll respond to you within the next 48 hours, they're going to be happy with that because they know that you are going to look at it, you haven't lost it, and that you're going to respond eventually. So setting things up like that, just a small thing, can make a huge difference.
Right. And I just realized that does it also help, Sarah, because you're already there, so you can probably having a conversation with your prospects and with your clients, and be very transparent about the situation. Does that help?
But
And how is the market to that? Are they receptive?
so obviously with my clients, they understand that I have a chronic illness because they are having something similar. And I think it depends on a person by person basis. A lot of people I work with, they do want to talk to their potential clients about their issues so that there is an expectation and an understanding there. I do have a few people who prefer not to mention it because it's just sometimes can be a tricky conversation. But I think if you're confident to talk about your chronic illness, a lot of people these days understand. And again, it's around setting expectations and explaining that you will be there for them. It just sometimes takes a little bit longer.
Oh, that's really good, because if everyone understands these things, then it's better to have a real conversation in the beginning itself, so that they understand they're there to support you. In fact, you know, that's really beautiful.
Sorry, no, I was just going to say, I think also that just shows you if somebody isn't happy about the fact that you've disclosed this, then they're probably not the right person for you to be working with anyway. Because
Right.
you want your clients to be good clients, so that hopefully you are attracting the right sort of clients who will understand that. And if they're not the right clients, then it's probably good that at the beginning.
Yeah, anyway it's gonna be different, very difficult for somebody who has that kind of a problem already to be dealing with a person like that. So I think it's a good filter strategy as well. People who want to work with you, they are sympathetic, and they understand where you are right now and how you are going to support them, and they can support you as well in return. So it's kind of I see that there are positives around this if you have a proper conversation with your client about this.
Absolutely, yes.
So that's really beautiful, and Sarah, I know that people in this community, people who are actually listening to you, and people who think that you are the right person to help them in this situation, would love to work with you. What are the programs that you offer? Do you have a one-on-one coaching program that you offer, or it's a group program? What sort of program are you offering these
At the
days?
moment, I'm offering a one-to-one mentoring program over a 3-month period. And I will be offering a group program in September as well. So it's every now and then I offer a group program. It's not something I do constantly, but I will be offering one shortly.
Yeah, that's beautiful. And all the details about Sarah's program and everything will be available in the description of this podcast as well. So anyone who is interested to actually get this kind of evolved coaching can, reach out to you, Sarah. Now, Sarah, before we actually wind up this beautiful conversation that we are having, would you like to give some tips for people who are where you are, and to kind of begin their journey of building that business that they want to build?
Certainly, thank you. I think if you have a chronic illness and you want to set up your own business, the first thing to think about is what the right business is for you. So making sure that it's something that fits in really well with your illness. If you have a condition that makes it painful to stand for a long time, then make sure that your business takes that into account. And again, try and see if there's a strategy where you can make the most progress in your business without spending so much energy as well. I think the second thing then to do is to sort of make your plan to get your goals in the simplest way possible. So, not trying to do everything. Beware of the advice that you're getting off the internet about how much you should be posting, what you should be doing on a daily basis, and actually think about your end goal and what the quickest way to get there is for you, to make it as simple as possible. And then look at things like automation and delegation as well, and see how that can fit into your business, so that you are really focusing on the tasks that you enjoy and that you're good at, and those tasks that you find hard or you dislike, you can delegate or automate, so that you don't have to have that in your daily life as well. And then finally, look at how you can prioritize your well-being. So what moments of joy can you plan into your day? What can you be looking forward to? So your life isn't just about work, it's about what you enjoy doing and what you love and what makes you you. So those are my main points.
Yeah, beautiful, beautiful. And it all summarizes everything that we just discussed. So amazing. Thank you so much, Sarah, for taking out your time. I was really looking forward to this conversation because I know that there's just so many people who feel like, if something has happened in life, it's like, it's an obstacle. We can have a way around things. It's like your story is a story of hope, and a story that gives us a hope that we can actually plan things around whatever it is, right? So thank you so much for taking
Well,
out
thank
your
you so
time,
much,
Sarah.
Rashti. It's been lovely talking to you today.
Pleasure is all mine. Thank you so much.